Good evening, Lisa.
Good evening, Andrew.
Are you being served?
Mm-hmm.
A change is as good as a rest.
Yes.
I must apologise for feeding false information at the end of last
we
time.
got confused.
Because although I'd done a blog post on it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's, I think, the most read thing on our blog,
Okay.
we don't seem to have actually done a video on it.
Okay.
So
Sorry, I was switching rows, jumping down.
I was all confuzzled.
Yes. Okay.
This is the perils of being multimedia, you see.
Multimedia, okay.
But
Mm-hmm.
and my mind not working. I'm turning into young Mr. Grace,
Oh,
clearly.
God, okay.
Or
I hope not.
Yeah. But we're in the boardroom again,
Boardroom, yes.
which looks slightly different.
It does.
And there's a huge picture of young Mr. Grace.
Yes, looking
Old.
and mournful.
Mrs. Slocum her hair is blue.
It's blue. It's very blue.
Mr. Harmon's there
Mm-hmm.
for no reason.
Well, just to get him in, really.
Yeah.
Mr. Harmon is a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
He does whatever he needs to do in that script this week.
He invites them to take a seat, and
He does.
he knows what's going on
He
because
does.
he's looked in the folder.
He has.
And his lips is sealed,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all in the folder.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a pile of folders on the desk.
Yes.
And so they wonder whether they're going to get a rise in salary, or maybe even a pay cut or something. Could it be a takeover by the Army and Navy? Mr. Humphreys thinks that's a nice idea.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah. Or possibly an Arab sheikh might have
Bought the store.
bought the store. And what is it? They like them big in the east.
Yes.
So Mrs. Slocum should be all right.
She'll be alright, yeah.
Mr. Locust points out she's also big in the south.
Yes.
Mr.
Who did you say?
Lucas. Sorry, what did I say?
Sounded like Locust.
Mr. Locust. No, he's the insect one that lives on the end and sort of, big wings. But Mr. Granger won't demean himself to looking in the folder.
No.
So Mr. Lucas sidles over whilst Mr. Humphreys keeps watch.
Mm-hmm.
He's told off by Captain Peacock, but he has read the first line,
Mm-hmm.
and Captain Peacock's name was there,
Yes.
but his lips are sealed.
Mm-hmm.
But he's very sorry for anything he might have said to Captain Peacock in the past.
If he'd been rude.
So Captain Peacock assumes that means he's going to get a promotion, and he's not surprised.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't read the word promotion, he read the word replacement.
He did.
So Mr. Humphreys still keeps watch whilst Captain Peacock goes over.
Yeah, and he says to Captain Peacock to hurry because he can hear his knees creaking along the corridor.
But he looks and goes, "Good heavens! Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh dear!" And all that. Mm-hmm. It turns out that they're all going to be replaced.
They are.
En masse,
En
in
masse,
fact.
yes.
But yeah, Mr. Humphreys' horoscope said he was going to take up a new position, but he interpreted that completely differently.
He did.
Mr. Granger's really cross and says that they should all resign.
Yes. And they all vote to resign.
Well, Mrs. Slocum agrees, and she is unanimous in that. And they should resign in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Miss Brahms till she says men first.
Yes.
In that case, it's Mr. Granger.
Yes.
Young Mr. Grace comes in, and Mr. Granger resigns. But what's really going on is it's thought they should get experience of other departments.
Yeah.
So the Ladies and Gents, which is them, are going to go into toys.
They are.
So Mr. Granger's resigned for nothing, but it has to stand because it's in the meeting,
It's in the
meeting's minutes, the minutes of the meeting even. So Mr. Humphreys is going to be promoted to fill Mr. Granger's vacant slot, and Mr. Lucas, who has shown lots of promise, and Mr. Humphreys believes in giving young men an opportunity.
Yes.
So Mr. Lucas gets bumped up as well. So Mr. Granger can reapply, but only as a junior.
Yes.
So, welcome to Grace Brothers, young man, goes young Mr. Grace.
Mr. Grace, yes.
But yes, Mr. Humphrey says that they debag juniors on the first day. So we presume this is Friday.
Yes.
Because they say we'll see you on Monday.
Yeah, I've never known a shop that doesn't open on a Saturday.
No. But never mind.
I think that's written by somebody who's not really worked in a shop. Jeremy Lloyd had.
Jeremy Lloyd did, but maybe they didn't.
So it's actually biggest shopping day on Saturday.
But yeah, Mr. Granger gets a good close-up at the end of the scene, pulling faces.
Pulling
doesn't
faces,
he?
yes.
But Monday in the toy department, in comes Mr. Harmon, who's everywhere, on a bicycle.
Small bicycle.
With a policeman's helmet on and tooting a blow tickler, as they've already been called.
Yeah.
Captain Peacock's in a bit of a bad mood because he had to come in on Sunday to be trained about the toys. But what is there to learn about toys, says Mrs. Slocum. All you do is bounce them, cuddle them, or turn them on. And Mr. Lucas thinks that applies to girls as well.
Yes.
Miss Brahms isn't impressed by that.
No.
Mr. Granger says he dislikes children, and he's always disliked children, even when he was a child.
Yes.
As a kid, he used to make soldiers out of plasticine and fill them with tomato sauce.
Yes.
And shoot them. It made his sister sick.
Yes.
But yes, so for 2 to 5 year olds, there's a rubbish wind-up bear which just sort of vibrates and that's it, which is apparently very exciting when you're 2. But the thing I like is the Wibbly-Wobblies.
The Wibbly-Wobblies, yes.
Now these were real toys,
yes,
weren't
they're
they?
basically Weebles.
Weebles, but they have to be called Wibbly-Wobblies here.
because Weebles is a trademark.
Because Weebles wobble and
but
they don't fall down. That's right. But the Wibbly-Wobblies have got a playground, haven't they?
And they've got
They've got a slide and a roundabout and a rocker.
Or like a seesaw kind of thing.
And a swing. And you get 4 Wibbly-Wobblies and extra Wibbly-Wobblies are 25 pence each.
Yes.
And it's one of those things, the more you say Wibbly-Wobblies, the sillier it gets.
Yeah.
On the rocker, though, Miss Brahms points out that you need to have 2 or they won't wobble.
Captain Peacock only puts 1 and it just tips up and she says you need 2 or they won't wobble. Yes.
But yeah, apparently Miss Brahms would know about having 2 Wibbly-Wobblies.
Yes.
This is $3.75 and Mr. Humphreys has a demonstration of it. And I like the way he starts making stuff up about the Wibbly-Wobbly universe.
Gives them a background, doesn't he? And gives them names.
So it's Charlie and his friend Roger.
Roger, yeah.
That's a name with a meaning. I notice in this, behind Mr. Humphreys, there's a big chemistry set, and my eyes were sort of drawn to that. So he does the whole routine with the Wibbly-Wobblies, but it gets a bit spoiled when Mr. Lucas appears with Spencer the Spider.
Spencer the Spider is like a hand puppet, who Paul would love.
Yeah.
Would have loved when he was doing
It's a bit like
Park.
Itsy and Bitsy, the spiders from Paper Plane.
Paper Plane, yeah.
But yeah, Roger gets gobbled up for lunch by Spencer the Spider, although he doesn't like the taste and spits him out. Then on to mechanical toys for 3s and unders.
Yes.
So that includes kids who are naught.
Yes, according to Mr. Lucas.
So there's Tuffy the Tank. Mr. Humphreys is rather taken with Roger Wibbly-Wobbly because he's got him in his top pocket and he's brought him over to have a look. There's a sort of robot which has got one big television screen thing. Well, it's not really a television screen, it's just a screen with sort of projected. It's a bit like a sort of lava lamp thing, isn't it?
Yes,
but it's just a sort of slide that sort of moves. And they reckon it's Star Trek, although it's a repeat. And for the blog, I'll look up to see what Star Trek was on nearest to that. There's 2 robots though, and there's one that's got it sort of fires out of its chest, doesn't it? And they start fighting. So they have to send in Tuffy the Tank to break it up.
Apart,
Mr. Granger thinks it's all rather exciting.
Yes.
So he's already getting into it.
He is, he's really enjoying himself.
Then there's the mechanical cuddlies, which is all animals, but
mostly dogs.
Mrs. Slocum says, because it's all dogs, is there no demand for mechanical pussies? And Captain Peacock understands that people prefer the real thing.
The real thing, yes.
But there's Daisy the Dachshund, and Billy Bassett, and they get quite friendly, don't they?
They do, yes.
And it's all very realistic, isn't it?
Though he appears to be pushing them on anything else with his nose.
Yeah.
Don't think things happen.
And there's a little tiny one as well.
Yeah,
Mr. Humphreys says,
looks like their puppy.
Find someone your own size. Yeah. On to dolls with Annie the air hostess. Mr. Lucas looks under her skirt, checking whether she's got any drawers
knickers on, because she's got a twistable tummy and removable clothes.
Yeah. But yeah, there's Playgirl Penny and Funtime Freddy. Mr. Lucas asks whether he's easily bent. But there's a shower unit, and you have to take his clothes off.
Yes, but he still keeps his boots on because they're moulded onto the figure.
Yeah, and you trap his neck in the mechanism in the shower.
And then you push a
press
button,
and
a tiny little bit of water
pissy bit of water comes out. Yeah, but yeah, he keeps his boots on, and he's not called Funtime Freddy for nothing.
No, ready to go.
And Hocus Pocus, which is like itching powder and stink bombs. Mr. Granger used to have stink bombs and let them off in the choir when he was called Stinky Granger.
Called him Stinky Granger, yeah.
Then there's a money box. Do you remember these from this,
I
this
don't
sort of time?
really, no.
It's just a sort of box, and you put a penny in it.
Yeah.
And slowly it sort of lid opens and this hand comes out, and it is like Thing from the Adams Family. It grips the penny and then bang!
Pulls it back.
And everybody jumps.
Like I did just then.
You did that. Then it will sort of jump back. Yes. Yeah, but it's funny to watch their reaction.
Yes.
Sorry, did I make you jump?
It's fine.
Talking dolls next. My name is Betty and I want to go to the potty.
Yes.
Now, who's doing the voice? It's Miss Brahms, isn't it? It sounds very much like Wendy Richards, especially later on. So, yeah, you get some demonstrations of those. Then you get young Mr. Grace and Mr. Rumbold on the phone.
And they have another one of these conversations that Mr. Rumbold frequently has with Mr. Grace, where Mr. Grace just gets completely the wrong end of the stick.
Yeah, they've only been doing it for half an hour, so he's a bit keen to start asking about it. But Mr. Granger, when his name is mentioned about being a junior, young Mr. Grace says he's just come from Derry and Tom's.
Yes, and he says that was in 1926.
Yeah, so his mind's
26, he's a bit old for a junior.
Yeah, he's better pull his socks up then, yeah. Mr. Humphreys has been in Gnome Land because when he appears, he's got this big, tall sort of hat on.
Because the phone rings, doesn't it?
I thought it was more of an elf's hat, but it doesn't have a bell on the end, so I suppose, yeah. But Captain Peacock's in the Wendy house, isn't he? And he says, "Can Mr. Humphreys take over?" Mr. Humphreys isn't keen until the sailor that's in the Wendy house sort of appears, and
he says, "I'll take over."
I like the way Mr. Humphreys says he's Peter Pan, doesn't he?
Yeah, because he knocks on the door. Who is it?
It was
Peter Pan.
Yeah. But yeah, then Captain Peacock goes to see Mr. Rumbold. Mr. Rumbold gives him a propeller hat.
Yes.
So you sort of silly thing you wear on your head. Big
hats normally do go on your head.
Yeah, big propeller. You pull the chain.
It's not a chain, it's called.
I was thinking it would flush, and it goes round. Yeah. And this is a whimsical novelty.
Yes.
But Peacock is to wear it and demonstrate it, and he's not happy because it makes him look like a fool, doesn't it?
A bit.
So he goes to see young Mr. Grace. Young Mr. Grace is on the phone, and he's obviously some sort of restaurant or something.
Yeah, booking a table, isn't he?
And he wants one in the alcove.
Because he's going to meet a young lady.
Who's a tall, blue-eyed blonde who's about 65.
Yes.
But yeah, I can't stay now. There's a man here with a propeller on his head. So young Mr. Grace's advice: if you want to get off the ground, you should get a bigger propeller. So yeah, there's no sense coming from him at this point. But everybody's a bit cross with everybody else now because they all sort of come into Mr. Rumbold's office with complaints about they're all playing with each other's toys.
And how many floors have they had to come up?
Why?
Well, because normally they're not on the same floor because they're in a different department. But Mr. Rumbold's in his same office.
What does the song say? The song doesn't mention toys, does it? So we've no idea where the toy department is. So,
I mean, how many flights of stairs have they had to trek up to get to Mr. Rumbold's office?
Not many, you would think. But anyway, Mr. Lucas has been filling the tinkling dollies with lemonade.
Yeah, so when she does the potty demonstration, they get covered in froth.
Mr. Humphreys can't leave Funtime Freddy alone. He keeps putting him in the shower.
Yeah.
Mr. Humphreys says, if Mrs. Slocum wants to play with his Wibbly-Wobblies, he'd have no objection, but she's no interest in his Wibbly-Wobblies.
No.
But then Mr. Harmon comes in, and the Bassett's had an accident, hasn't it? Because he got into a fracas with Bertie Bulldog.
Yes.
It was a real bulldog.
It was a real bulldog.
He pulled his head off.
Yes.
And Mr. Harmon's had the arse of his trousers and coat attacked,
yes.
doesn't he? So it's all like sort of shredded at the back. Back in the department, there's a young boy customer who's got the full sort of cowboys and Indians
Well, it's an Indian outfit
with headdress and a tomahawk. And they go and get the scalps on a stick. And it's the Magnificent Seven range.
And his dad says, that one's not got any hair.
And they point out that one's got to be your Brenner then, hasn't it? Can you name the Magnificent Seven?
Your Brenner.
Yeah, I can't. Cause I'm not expecting you to, but never mind.
I do know, and I've forgotten his name.
All right.
He's in Man from U.N.C.L.E. Not David McCallum, the other one.
Ilya Kuryakin?
No, the other one. The American
one.
Robert Vaughn.
Robert
Vaughn.
I was going to say Robert Wagner.
Robert Wagner. That's it.
Right, that's it. Okay.
Oh, James Coburn, maybe.
All right, I don't know.
We're going to have to look it up now.
But as a woman who wants a sort of wedding doll.
A bride doll, not a wedding doll.
A wedding doll.
A bride doll.
What do you mean?
Man, honestly.
I don't know. A doll that's in a wedding dress.
Yeah, a bride doll.
All right. Well, it's £20.50.
Yes.
But it comes with the bridegroom, and you pull the chain on the back of her back.
Cold, yeah.
And
on the back of her back.
Yeah. And she says, "I love you. I love you. I do. I do."
Yes.
And Mrs. Slocum paints a picture of them at the altar with the organ playing, and she utters those immortal words. I want to go to the potty. Mr. Granger is playing with the train set.
Yes, and he's loving it. And he's got a load of kids, sort of teenagers.
There's one waving a flag and everything. Yeah. And he's doing a really good job. And he's sold 4 already.
Yes. Yeah.
And they look fairly expensive because it's a full proper set.
Train set, yes.
I never really had a train set, but I know that this is a fairly elaborate layout. Although he doesn't like children, he likes trains.
He likes trains, yes.
And turns out at the end of all this, they've had very good sales figures. So it's the end of the day on Friday, I presume. It's not entirely clear where the time scale of all this is.
No, I think they've been there for a sort of week, haven't they? So.
And they've got this sort of bicycle race thing, isn't it? It's sort of this sort of track, like sort of in a circle, and there's 4 or 5 bicycles that go round. I presume it's done with magnets or something. Yeah. Because they go round and one of them stays stuck, the white one. And next time it comes around, they all go round. But they're sort of betting on it who's going to win, aren't
50p a race.
Young Mr. Grace appears on the floor, and it turns out the bell went 2 minutes ago. Yeah. So he's really impressed how keen they all are. But it's just an excuse to play with the toys, isn't it?
Yes.
But he says they've all done very well.
Thank you, Mr. Grace.
And Mr. Humphreys has to put the Wibbly-Wobblies and the tree people to bed.
Yes.
We didn't see the tree people.
We didn't see tree people, no. One of my nieces had the tree.
You better explain what it is. It's sort of plastic tree.
It's a plastic tree.
Big round thing.
Yeah, you get little animal things, I think, or something in it.
And people.
Or little people. And
there's a dog that lives outside.
And you can push it down and carry it around, I think. So.
But
it's been a long while since I've seen one.
Mrs. Slocum's taken a fancy to a doll. Granger's still playing with his trains. And he's told that on Monday he'll be back to being senior assistant in the menswear, not in the gents.
Not in the gents. Yes,
he's a bit disappointed by that, isn't it?
He wanted to stay as a junior in the toy department and play with his trains.
But young Mr. Gray says, we all have to grow up sometimes, but we've got time to play with them, haven't we? So he puts the sort of
and blows the whistle, which is really rubbish. Neither of them can blow it properly.
They've got no puff on between them, have they? And then the sort of last shot is the train going around, and then the end credits are everybody with the toy. I noticed Spencer the Spider's there for Mr. Lucas.
And we're still getting
still Molly Sugden
first, and then Trevor Bannister.
Yeah.
John Inman's still quite a way down.
Still about 4th, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. But
that will change.
Great little episode. Nice to see them in a different environment.
Yes, although it's obviously the same set, just redressed.
Been redressed. Yeah. It's not like they spent too much money. But I just like Mr. Granger's keenness.
Yes.
For what he's selling, even if not necessarily who he's selling it to. Just good to see him having fun. Yeah. And I do like the Spencer the Spider and the Wibbly-Wobbly stuff, especially.
Yes, Mr. Humphrey says, "Goodbye, Roger. I'll miss you."
But I remember this one. I remember this one quite well because I always remember this one seemed to get repeated quite a lot. I don't
Alright,
know whether
okay.
it's just my because it was quite a different episode.
Yes.
Maybe
So
it sticks in
out.
memory a bit
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
I don't really know, but yeah, it's a good different one, I think. So there we are. So we'll do the next one
Next week. Yeah.
and see what we see.
Yes.
Bye bye then.
Bye.